Hey everybody, it's Cthulhuigi here, back from my epic LP hiatus. Been very hyped about the brand new Banjo-Kazooie that they've announced being put into Super Smash Bros. Lately. And to celebrate, I figured I would complete my LP collection of the entire series. So what better place to start than what's probably the worst traditional title in the series, or okay, it's definitely the worst traditional title in the series. It's probably better than Pilot, although I haven't really played that. It's still good. It's a very interesting novelty. This was after Rareware got bought by Microsoft, but before they rebranded to Rare, I believe. And since Microsoft never had a Game Boy equivalent, they just let Rare keep developing for those. So this, Banjo Pilot, Diddy Kong Racing, DS, maybe some other ones that I'm not as familiar with, but Mr. Pants I think was European only. Anyway, this is Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge. As you can tell, it is a isometric Game Boy Advance take on Banjo-Kazooie. Pretty authentic as far as technical limitations would make, I think. Or would allow. So this is a interquel, like it's a prequel to Tooie, but sequel to Kazooie. And basically makes itself non-canon, although interesting, it's fascinating the robot Grunty was brought back for nuts and bolts. I thought it was fascinating in 2008. This is a pretty good way to get around being crushed, for what it's worth. I assume that the sprites for this were all done basically the same way as Donkey Kong Country, maybe more accurately Donkey Kong Land, where they just had 3D models and then compressed them and made some minor differences. Like, I assume Grunty's eyes were manually given the one green pixel pupils, but you can tell from like the pretty complex, I don't think dithering is really the right word, but the shading does not look like the way that a hand-sprited sprite would normally be. The animation's very smooth as a result of that, but there is some interesting dissonance between the profile, like Mumbo talking, his face there, versus the very compressed 3D model. And like his arms kinda don't have enough pixels sometimes. I'm not talking about the amazing story here. It's pretty self-contained. It's an interesting concept. I mean, this part isn't exactly interesting. I guess it does make sense that like she tried to steal Kazooie because Banjo's kind of useless without her. But yeah, this is the part that is more interesting. That it's a. I mean, they bring in time travel, but it doesn't really ever come up. I don't even think it... Oh gosh, that's a fancy looking gradient. They actually did the thing right where like... Or maybe they didn't. I know that like by default if you try to combine green and magenta and computer graphic, it'll make gray in between. I couldn't really tell if that was gray or just I have bad eyes. So this is Bottle's ancestor, Wazla the Bear. Bazai, I think? I'm not really paying attention. I've played through this like 2 or 3 times just for chuckles. Okay, it is Bazai. Definitely don't think that the garbled talking samples are as charming in this as they are in the other games, to say the least. I probably am gonna get a controller set up with this before too long. Sorry about the mechanical keyboard clicking, clacking. Jinjos are pretty good. I like that 5-frame animation. The whiplashes were an interesting choice, but I do like the overworld being like ancient Spiral Mountain, even though the isometric style kinda makes it difficult to tell that's what it's supposed to be. I think the actual Spiral Mountain is like close to the end. So yeah, this For some reason I always thought isometric meant that like it was a not two-thirds, like three-quarters perspective, or like stuff was shown diagonally. And I guess you could say that is the case here, because like a lot of the stuff is, I mean, some stuff is always going to be diagonal and some stuff isn't. But isometric, I think, just means it's, well, I think it literally semantically means the same distance is represented by the same space in-game, as opposed to like true 3D games where stuff in the background would look smaller. But by that logic, like, all platformers would be isometric, and I guess that's technically true. It's just less interesting when there's only one plane being detailed anyway. So yeah, a lot of concepts in this, similar to Tooie. I'm not sure why they chose to do this. I guess they just had... They were probably like... Yeah, I can't think of a technical reason why they would do that way versus just having the item talk to you like it does in Kazooie, but I guess it probably, like... I don't think there's a processor limit that would be preventing it from having that go on while you're moving, but it would definitely be very noisy in such a small resolution. Yeah, they like implemented a lot of like really weird specific stuff from Tooie like that, and like Jiggy Wiggy's temple here. I think that's... I wasn't really paying attention to the lore, unfortunately. Yeah, okay. I remembered that right. It's a very interesting game. I am very fascinated by Game Boy Advance games with either simulated 3D like this, especially ones that do actual 3D rendering. Super Monkey Ball Jr. is like my favorite. Really isn't exactly what I'm going for, but I'm fascinated by it. I have dreams about finding weird Game Boy Advance ports of games. So no minigame or anything to unlock the levels, which is fine. There are only 6 levels in this, including the overworld, so there's 60 total Jiggies. That's still a pretty good amount of content for a Game Boy Advance game, I think. It doesn't take substantially less time. It actually, more than Kazooie, requires you to come back and visit levels again, and... You know what, I'm gonna go ahead and just spoil it, because I think if you don't already know about this game, you might need some selling points to stay invested. There are... I can't remember if there are 5 or just 4 Mumbo transformations. I can't think of what the 5th one would... Yeah, that was really helpful for everyone. I'm sure that I was intentionally counting them without saying what they are. But you unlock them for every level, and then like there will be 1 or 2 Jiggies that require or get easier with another level's transformation. Yeah, so like right there, that's some of the classic isometric... This is much better than the Spyro games, both in terms of being fun and in terms of like it being possible to tell what level things are on, and that's just like a graphic design choice. Rare is better at making video games than whatever studio was making. I'm actually not sure how much... Was this THQ? Like some company that wasn't Rare was also credited with this, but I'm pretty sure it's developed by Rare. That was good music. I'm not sure if Grant Kirkhope was involved with this one, or they just had someone who was good at spoofing his style. I'll have to keep an eye out in the credits for that. A lot of weird stuff where, like, I don't know, my instinct is just, oh, you should be able to hit these trees and stuff will fall out, and the trees are basically just there to make scenery. I do like the Jinjo's somersault into oblivion. What's this chicken say? The springy spikes. Yeah, so this is a big theme in this game. They have these interesting Mode 7 Not sure if that's still what it's called or if that's even what's being used for this, but... And you can't change how far down you go unless I'm misremembering. I don't remember if that changes later, but it's a cute little thing. It looks pretty good. I'm not sure, like, I'm pretty sure there's at least 3 of those. Maybe one of them is just a credits thing, but there's a lot of weird mini-games like that, but, like, honestly, that's another thing that it sort of just takes from Tooie. Yeah, it's a fun game. If you want more Banjo, which a lot of people are in the right to want, I recommend you check it out if you haven't played it before. Like, I'm pretty sure... It's hard for me to really make a decision on where I would rank this versus, like, Spyro Season of Ice and all those. Because I 100%ed this... Oh, I like these enemies a lot. I 100%ed this as a kid whenever it... I think I got it pretty soon after it came out, but I was, like, surprised to see it in the video game shelf at Walmart, and, like, there wasn't very much advertising about it that I was paying attention to, at least. And I was definitely younger when I was playing the Spyro... At least Season of Ice. I don't remember when the other Spyro games came out compared to this, but a lot of stuff in that just seemed like unreachable and impossible to me, and I didn't think that there was anything I was doing wrong. I was young enough that that probably wasn't the case, but I think, if nothing else, the visual design of this definitely communicates where you can go and where you can't more than those games did, because they were a lot more abstract and... I don't even know how to describe the aesthetic of the Spyro games. That was pretty, straightforward. Bow-warring creature. The Jiggies are, like, very big in this. All the, like, shiny collectible animations look pretty good, I think. And I'm trying to remember, in Banjo-Kazooie, the notes were sprites. I assume the Jiggies were actual 3D models. That would be pretty wild if they weren't. There's, like, no chance that they weren't. I wonder if these notes are the exact same sprite that the notes used. Banjo-Kazooie. They have, like, pretty good frames of animation. They look better than coins in Mario 64, at least. Oh, I like how you can... I didn't realize you could jump on them. Crawling with mobs. For some reason I, like, remember this level very vividly. It's probably because I played through it more times than anything else, because it's very Mumbo Mountain-y in that you can just do everything in it pretty quickly. I don't think I ever dabbled in speedrunning this, but I do think I, like, randomly timed myself on it just for chuckles. I don't know. I might be making up stories to make myself sound cooler by accident. Yeah, okay, and, like, little parts like this are a little disorienting, but at least they have the good sense to, like... I mean, it actually looks like something, like, I can tell this is a farm building, and that helps a lot. It's not just, like, abstract floating platforms, and I have no idea if they're the top platforms of a climbing section. Or what? Can I... Oh, how do I activate this? So yeah, sort of taking a page from DK64, each level has, like, a warp to a Grunty fight. I think it's always a Grunty fight. I think it's each level. And that's all I really have to say about that. I don't really have any insights beyond that. I like the AI of these little chicks. So, if you're an astute oh, yeah. Okay, that's some of that classic, I don't even understand how that's supposed to work out exactly, but, I hope that didn't sequence break me. Somehow this isn't the level I have the best mental map of. There's one other one that... it's, I think the fourth one that's sort of like a treasure trove... Not treasure trove cove, there is one that's like time-shifted treasure trove cove, and that one's okay, but... There's one that's like Jolly Roger's Lagoon or something where it's a little town, and I think that's my favorite level. But that's probably just because it's inhabited by like stink monsters. I really can't remember if I had any, like, meaningful train of thought I was going on. I think in this day and age, like, it really does help to have co-commentators to pick up some of the slack while trying to navigate isometric realms. Or, like, be streaming it and be able to respond to comments and not just follow your own rambling train of thought forever. I'm also perpetually out of practice. Speaking of that, I will return to the Baba's ULP. Nothing better in LPs like talking about other LPs in the first episode, in my opinion. I think that this game is like Tooie in that it saves the notes between levels. I don't recall having to go back and collect them again. This game gets a lot more interesting when you get Kazooie back, which, strangely enough, happens in the second level. They're braver than DK64. I'm like looking for the Mumbo token. I'm pretty sure there's just one Mumbo token for each level or something. I should probably go talk to Mumbo just in case. He might just be gating something else, or he might tell me where it is, or the first one might be in the skull. But yeah, okay, that was what I was talking about earlier. You've probably noticed a bunch of conspicuous tiny holes. And that has to do with the transformation. I'm pretty sure the, like, Simon pattern on the floor does indicate there are only 4 transformations. Oh yeah, they're specifically Mumbo totems instead of tokens. That's important to the lore. I also like the sort of 60s aesthetic. It's actually really messed up that Mumbo has rugs of wild animals like that because Trophy Thomas. What is this? Oh, I did not remember this was in this game, honestly. And I also did not remember that it was... That was a good sound effect, wow. I did not remember it was how you press switches. So that probably lets me go to the boss, which maybe gates the Mumbo totem. I don't think you have to revisit this level. Although I do know there's one other move that I need, and maybe, Cliff Farm and Farm Heights. This is the first time I've played this since playing Conker's Bad Fur Day, and I can say that, it doesn't learn from Windy as much as it could. Roll is kind of OP in this with no knockback. That's a good effect. Oh, these are good vegetables too. Grunt weeds. Oh, okay, yeah, you fight Klungo half the time, and it's like very similar to the 2E fights, and then you fight Grunty twice too. Maybe it's Klungo 3 times, and yeah, it's Klungo 3 times and Grunty twice in levels, and then Grunty is, spoilers, the final boss. So yeah, pretty much the same as in 2E, honestly. Translates pretty well to top-down. Isometric. Sorry if I don't sound like overwhelmingly excited. I have a bit of a sore throat, so I don't want to raise my voice too much. And also, this game is very boring at the start, and it's like not even that weird like it gets later. Wow, right after talking about Mumbo. Yeah, okay, I remembered that right. Those totems look very haunted. I'd like to see the actual 3D model they're based off of. Oh yeah, I guess you always get those from bosses. I guess not always, and maybe there are only 4 I should probably, like, not try to like, of all the things I could be talking about in this game, guessing randomly about it when the last time I played it was, like, at least 5 years ago. I don't remember why it would have been any... or would have even been that recent, but... Okay, there are... oh, there are 5, and one of them is bear transformation. Silly me. I'm like playing this in a window that's just a little bit smaller than the scene in open broadcasting softwares, which is what I'm recording with. And it's sort of like it's being... like, every time it does a screen shaping effect like that, it looks cool because it looks like it's extending backwards. So, for all the stuff, negative stuff I've been saying about this game, it is pretty good for having Rat Banjo, in my opinion. Oops. Oh. I wonder if you can... I might have just been too ambitious, or maybe it... worth testing. I really want to know if... okay, yeah, it is like it is originally. It's just a little... abrupt. This is more interesting than all of the small transformations in Kazooie, I think. Maybe not more interesting than the termite. The termite sort of has a problem where it's more interesting than, like, all of the other transformations until the bee. I mean, I'm not gonna say the pumpkin isn't good, but the pumpkin and walrus are both, like, not interesting to play as, and the crocodile is sort of ruined by the fact that you have to walk back to transform. Wait, how does that work again? There's like something about that always bugs me when I have to do it. Oh, it's because you need to get the swamp boots to break the busty barge pad, and then bring it back for Cheeto. I really don't know. Also, I thought I guess you can't do that while walking. I thought, like, maybe something had to prompt you to be able to do it, but no, you just have to stand still and you can do hungry. I should, like, spam tweets at Rare Devs until they publicly post these models. I have a feeling they might not exist, but... come on. Whatever, that's good enough. Was there anything I'm forgetting with this little rat? This music does sound a bit like Windy mixed with... or, I mean, there's just the one part where they sprinkle it. Can Banjo really, truly change? Yeah, this is the effect that, like, it looks like the stars are picking up and blowing to the sides. I don't really know what I'm gonna fill the sides of the screen with, because this is not quite as widescreen as widescreen. And I didn't want to change my OBS settings, even though I think there's, like, some other thing that's better than OBS now that I should switch to. I don't know, I've been very surprised how excited I actually got over the Banjo-Kazooie reveal. I was following leaks and stuff, so I was expecting it, and then like my heart kinda sunk when the hero reveal was at the start, but I also predicted that like they would not open with what is ultimately a cult classic. Oh yeah, I forgot about the two, I almost call that two mushrooms. I really need to stop collecting those when I'm at full health. This is a new area still, right? Leave a comment telling me. I really don't remember if you get the... No, I was here. Do you? Okay, this is new. This might be where you learn to do the thing I'm thinking of. As long as I get all the notes, I'm happy. I'm pretty sure you can get all the notes. Huh. Yeah, so you can swim in these bubbly patches, and the rest of the notes are probably in those. Oh. Okay, well that was my bad. I'm sure some people were screaming at their banjo. And I probably gotta climb again to go get the... I'll still be short a... Jiggy after the... Jinjos, so maybe there's like a mini game and a Jinjo and the rest of the notes down there. That would be nice. Yeah, so this level is pretty small. Or this area anyway. I mean, the level is too, but... Alright, do you get a Jiggy for all the notes? No, it's just gotta be a record. And yeah, the notes are used for moves like this, like in Tooie. Very, very informed by Tooie. Oops. Wow. I'm in dead rat jail. One level in and I'm already defeated by this cursed game. I guess there was really not too many other ways it could have gone. I don't know what to say. I'm sure that speedrunnersarchive.com has some good speedruns of this if this is what you're looking for. If you're just looking to kick back and relax with the most mysterious game on the N64, you're in for a treat. Man, I'm like definitely almost sick, and I'm not really excited about that. I feel like I only LP when I'm sick. It's the only time I have the presence of mind and don't just want to like do some other random crap. Maybe the... There's some wild lore there. Okay. I probably missed something obvious, I don't know. Maybe you'd need Kazooie to backflip or something for one of them. I'm sorry I didn't do a practice run. Tilda's evil seal. It's like Bowser's evil test. I am curious about where these locations physically exist. Because, like, the monster mouths otherwise were only seen in Grunty's lair. Did she, like... Do they have warping properties? And Grunty mined them out of Primal Spiral Mountain? Or is this part of the greater Isle o' Hags? I want to actually say that, like, somewhere it mentions Isle o' Hags. Just because it loves Tui so much. Hey, if it loves Tui so much, why doesn't it marry itself? Yeah, I think this is probably as good of a point as any to cut, I guess. Yeah, I still need the feathery back flap to get there. Spiral rise, yeah, I thought this was a cool idea. Am I supposed to get here? I don't know if I ever did this as baby. I don't think that mattered. Oh, like, that looks like much more of a drop-off than it is. That's the beauty of isometry. I just want to find where Birdo's beach is. Okay. The Cheeky Priest. I don't know if you can unlock more than one level at a time in this. I think you can get the last two at the same time. Oop. Well, not sure what that was. Hopefully that didn't, mess with anything. Let me get more health, that would be prudent. This is really rude. I also don't like that there's only two visible. Oh, it's also weird that you don't trade them in, it's just a cumulative total. I think this is the right way. Yep. Grass is getting lighter. Oh wait, no, this is like one of the spirally, mountainy parts of Spiral Mountain. And then this, can I get this at this? Might need Talon Trot. I don't even know, I don't think I can jump that high. Yeah, I have a feeling that that's not attainable even if you're a cool hacker until you have Kazooie. Because I think that the roll is a... Oh, that was just a lucky thing. Oh, I do like the construction of Grunty's castle. Yeah, this game has some charming stuff. Oh, and see, it was originally King Jingling's castle. That's a good jump scare. I really would like to end this, like, in front of the... Yeah, I don't know if that jump would be high enough. I would like to end this in front of the beach. I can't remember if it, like, panned to the beach or just showed where it was. Why are you still... Sits to the north. Honeybees. Okay. Thanks for the tip. Maybe if I kept going back and forth, he would actually tell me it's west, but I'm, like, pretty sure at this point it's west. Yeah, okay. I kinda remembered. Yeah, I was like talking about how good the visuals are on this, and isometry is really scary sometimes. This is a good midi of Spiral Mountain at least. Can I... That's just like unpassable, which is not what I was expecting. A little bit unexpected. How do I... Which side of that do I even climb? Oh my god, it was just the vines the whole time. Isn't that always how it is? I guess now would be the TikToks. Well, excuse me for thinking the beach was going to be on ground level. Weird. Alright, well thanks for watching. Sorry I didn't 100% the first level. Not sure if that was a thing I could have done. I think it probably was, but I'm not 100% sure. Hope you enjoyed this glimpse into a hilarious yet forgotten game.